Right now, the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office is searching for a teenager wanted for attempted murder. Take a look at your screen. This is 19-year-old Alpha Bell. Police say he is considered armed and dangerous. If you see him, call JSO. That phone number is 630-0500. The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office has arrested this man in connection with a double shooting that happened in Woodstock. 37-year-old Charles Crosby allegedly shot two people on West 1st Street on February 17th. 42-year-old Garvin Owensby died in that shooting. His girlfriend was also shot, but she survived. Crosby has been charged with murder, attempted murder, and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. We have some new information tonight in the case of Kimberly Kessler, the woman suspected of murdering Jolene Cummings, a Nassau County hairstylist and mother of three. Evidence released in the case includes numerous interviews with people who knew Kessler, many of whom, it turns out, had questions and doubts about her sometimes odd behavior. Tonight, we're learning more about her nearly 20 different identities. Shelby Danielson has the latest.
She had quite a bit of obvious personality disorder.
Dr. Bill Dunn is a physician at the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota.
She had no furniture in her apartment. She would not allow me to give her furniture.
Dunn was Kimberly Kessler's landlord for about a year before he says he had to terminate her lease. He told a Nassau County detective that Kessler became too dangerous, too paranoid.
She certainly believed these delusions. She's in jail.
Yeah, and we do not want her to get out. She's in different names, people who have died, she's taken their names.
When Kessler rented from Dunn, she went by the name Jennifer Seibert. Documents show detectives tracked down the real Jennifer Seibert, who had died as a teenager in a car accident in 1987. In other interviews, detectives were told Kessler would allegedly find aliases off of gravestones.
Yeah, she's pretty smart. She knows what she's doing.
Evidence shows she read obituaries, including this one, where it appears she circled a name.
I mean, she's scary smart.
Yeah.
Evidence of her internet browser history shows she researched deceased individuals online through Victimpedia.
I have a feeling that's something about her that I don't trust.
Ann Morgan, a co-worker of her alleged victim, Jolene Cummings, tells a detective that Cummings was suspicious of Kessler in her final days, who she only knew as Jennifer Seibert.
She's not a person that she says she is.
Shelby Danielson, First Coast News, on your side.
Now, most recently in court, the defense team for Kimberly Kessler argued once against the release of more evidence. They also tried to argue that Kessler was mentally incompetent. They're going to revisit those motions when they return to court in a couple of weeks.